Hello, friends. It's John Clinton III of episode 196 of Shadow and Flame of Magic, your premier Kitty Pryde Lockheed and Magic podcast. And today we will be reviewing X-Men Volume 7, Issue 22, Battleworld 1, Emma Frost White Queen 4, Godzilla Destroys the Marvel Universe 3, Storm 12, Chef the Landshark 4, and Spider-Man and Wolverine 5. So a full week of comics, so spoilers for all these that are coming. And we start with X-Men Volume 722, the prelude to Age of Revelation. Cyclops is released from the moral jail by magic. I really like how these two's friendship, top tier friendship for me. She comes in very strong, which makes him know that something went astray earlier. Trevor Fitzroy is the X-Men's prisoner, and Quentin Quire is holding back Fitzroy's ability to teleport. So he must be really concentrating on that all the time. Glob reveals he's a vegetarian, and Juggy confronts gets confronted by 70s Beast for killing Ocelot, especially in front of Jen. Beast, the fool, goes as far as to say that the X-Men always killed Juggy wouldn't be here today, which is just laughable, as the original five barely could defeat Juggy, much less kill him. I do like how they are at least addressing it, as I found it so odd that Juggy even felt the need to kill Ocelot. It felt very out of character. Jen and Ben, interesting to give two new characters rhyming names, talk, and since Jen has the predator powers of Hawk and Lizard so far, she's not that bothered by Juggy killing Ocelot. Magneto and Quire are playing chess. I guess Quire can concentrate on this and keep Fitzroy's powers in check. Cyclops isn't loving that Magic led an assault on the upstarts. I do love that Magic stands up for herself, reminding him that she was a fellow war captain and made the right call. So funny she refers to Quire having a boo-boo, which he corrects her that he was holding his guts in with his brain. Psylocke comes in and Cyclops states that she was in charge of the field team while he was out, which I found to be odd. Does she take turns with Magic as they were both war captains? Does Psylocke outrank Magic? I know earlier in the series, Magic and Oya chat about how Magic doesn't really want more responsibility, which is even that felt odd at the time. Maybe Magic does now. It's an interesting scene regardless. Just then, Doug Ramsey, Warlock, and Bay the Blood Moon knock on the door. Doug and Scott chat. I wish we got more with Magic, Doug, and Warlock. New Mutants represent. Cyclops is concerned if Doug before him, or is it the heir of Apocalypse? Doug points out that they're both adopted sons of questionable fathers, both of whom are not even on Earth at the time. Strangely, Cyclops states the X-Men were never a democracy, and maybe it's a time they became one, which is just odd. But Cyclops puts it to a vote. Everyone votes yes, except for Beast and Zorn, who both abstain. So an odd choice for a scene, except unless we're supposed to take away that these two characters didn't vote to have bigger ramifications later. Magic's simple yes makes me want more from her in these characters. Just as soon as Scott's going to shake Doug's hand, he gets hit with a mental attack from its Age of Revelation future self, which should remind us that the Age of Apocalypse preview issue where he shakes Doug's hand and Doug Force changes Scott's mind to attack S.H.I.E.L.D. Not the same scene, but still holding hands. I do question how this is going to read in trade. I imagine both the traditional trade and the omnibus will both end with issue 22, and then issue 23 will deal with the Shadow of Tomorrow, the new 2026 era. We know Scott and Psylocke will both get ongoings. I imagine either there will be a time jump to issue 23 as Age of Revelation finale probably handles the entire going back in time plot and setting up the next era. 23 might try to catch readers up what they need to know so it doesn't read weird from one issue to the other. But most crossovers we read weird if you just stick to the one series for a read through. And then Battleworld 1. This was a lot of fun. Hank Pym is from our world and time. He meets a wasp from an alternate Earth where Hank was killed by Baron Zemo, the father. We later meet a Bucky from World War II who kills Zemo, the son. Peter Parker Spider-Man is just months into starting out. Maestro is future Hulk, and then there's a future Thor from way further into the future. We get Days of Future Past Storm, who attacks Sentinels, is in her green jumpsuit. So that's all we get about what era she's from. They meet up, they fight Maestro, and the issue ends with Arcade, who I love, while he's still in his white suit and not an edgelord, and Titana and a Sorby Man. So we have to figure out how they get involved. Michael Korvac is the reason everyone's on Battle World, or as Arcade hopes, soon to be Mortal World. And then we get Emma Frost, White Queen 4, which is great seeing Emma being astonishing. She's in Vegas hoping to enlist an ally who, of course, betrays her. She does make a point that Emma's never seen before assistant could easily be the traitor, which will throw off Sage's sense of being the actual traitor. It is the Hellfire Club, they're all traitorous. Though I do like the idea that Emma learns it is Sage and makes her life easier, but we only have one issue to go, and I'm not sure they can set all that up in the final issue. Emma's attacked by broken sentinels. One of them refers to Emma as an Omega level threat. So that should be loved by those power scaling fans. That should be exciting. I'm okay with her not being an Omega. If she was, she'll have to be constantly talking about being an Omega and being a target constantly. Emma gets them to fight each other and hurts her ankle. Then Mystique shows up and saves the day, telling her that the vote is closer to now than a week later. So the issue ends with Emma going back to New York City. Good miniseries so far. Godzilla Destroys the Marvel Universe 3. This was also fun. It was a fun week, everybody. Godzilla confronts Dormammu, who suspects Godzilla's a pawn of Doctor Strange. Godzilla just beats down Dormammu. Then is back on Earth. Madripoor, to be precise, he starts wrecking the place as his wont. Logan calls the X-Men, Cyclops, Storm, Jean, Rogue, Gambit, and Nightcrawler. They do their best to delay Godzilla as Black Panther works on a plan. I got the Iron Man Godzilla cover ordered from DCBS, but I'm just going to end up giving it to Walker D once my order comes in the mail. It's a good issue, but no reason to keep it in my Kitty Pryde Lockheed Magic collection. Next issue promises to be even more fun as Bruce Banner arrives in Wakanda with some Pym particles. So we're just going to get, giant Hulk versus Godzilla. So that should be great. Storm 12, we get an unexpected magic appearance as Thunder War concludes. Storm is battling the Great Thunder God, still empowered by Eternity. Storm is, that is. Meanwhile, on Earth, we see the Alaskan X-Men all playing baseball. It is awesome. They all have tailored outfits, and Juggy has a tiny hat on his big old helmet. Magic's also properly dressed and has decided to keep her Kirby hat horn thingies and also wearing a baseball cap. I just love the idea that they all took the time to get measured and fitted and playing baseball, and they're actually wearing their uniforms. I bet they look forward to when they can wear them. Like, I want a whole bonus issue where, you know, like it'd be fun if we just got a suit where they're like, hey, should we get uniforms? And like, sure. And then, which I don't know which of them is rich enough to just be like, yeah, I'll get it sought out and then we'll get uniforms tailored. We also see the Louisiana X-Men. Rogue has absolute faith that Storm will win the day, which is going to be even more tragic as we know these two are going to fight in Rogue Storm, the series contribution to Age of Revelations. Calico is there, but no Ember. So I got this added to my wish list. Jeff the Landshark 4. Issue opens with Logan and Psylocke trying to figure out what to do with Jeff the Landshark and his shadow self. Then Porta opens up and taking the two sharks, and Jeff teams up with Elsa Bloodstone, and they have a very trippy Savage Land adventure. And then we're reminded in issue 5 that it's going to be Magic and Wanda, so we'll be getting that issue for sure. And lastly, we have Spider-Man and Wolverine 5. Peter's sister, Teresa, who is still being placed with doubts if she is his sister. She's upset that Logan may have killed her parents, even though us readers know Marvel would never make that decision. It's too close to the Winter Soldier Iron Man from Captain America Civil War for one reason. They're fighting the big bad who organized the entire fight. Teresa shows off that she's better than both Peter and Logan, as she herself has a wrist gauntlet that has 3 claws snick out of it for some reason. So that threat is done. Later, Peter cleans up the footage and they learn that Logan was on the plane. Of course, he was. but he was only there to help, as we knew. The Parkers only referenced Peter, causing Teresa to doubt her parentage again. I looked up her fandom page and sounds like she's a SHIELD agent, but had a time travel adventure with Peter where she learned her parents were happy about her and found her birth certificate. But there was a lot of spider plots, and so I lost interest and didn't get that far down and didn't make it to the present day. But somehow she can still be confronted with plots where she suspects she's not Peter's sister. And then we have Marvel Zombies. Walker D and I was able to watch the first two episodes at a lunch hour, and then we came back and watched the other two. If you're going to watch the What If Marvel Zombies episode, I would recommend watching it before the third episode. You could probably watch in the first one and then not be trying to remember where we left off with the main characters. But episode three, spoilers for the Marvel Zombies four-part animated series. Um, but yeah, if you watch it right before episode three, then you'll know right where Peter Parker picks up. And it's just cool to see Spider-Man animation. Like it just reminds me of my 11-year-old self who was a big Spider fan. And just like it's just cool to see Spider-Man in a series. Um, and we're following Miss Marvel, who I love. And who do we see? We see Shang-Chi, we see his gal pal. Baron Zemo shows up. Um, Trying to think of people who make it through the entire series. Valkyrie, the Nova Corps gets recommended. Like it's a good four-parter series, but if you don't like zombies or animation, you probably can skip it. But if you like those three things, then great. I was impressed with the voice talents who all come back. Like Elizabeth Olsen comes back. Kamala Khan's actress escapes me. Chang Si, Samuel Liu, his gal pal friend Aki. I don't know why I'm trying to pronounce these names, but yeah, like most of the people come back for it, so that's pretty impressive. Black Panther is quiet, which Mike Walker D pointed out. You know, Chadwick did the voice in the original episode, so it's nice that they didn't find someone to replace him. And so he's just silent the entire time, and it's like, oh, well, that explains that. And yeah, it ends on a questionable nature, but I was like, well, how else was it gonna end with like a black screen and 4 months later and everyone's a farmer trying to rebuild the world? But I don't know, it was fun. Like I definitely would recommend breaking it up, though I imagine it would make for a nice 2-hour movie. Once you see the Scarlet Witch's final moment, you do not have to sit through the 6 minutes of credits and international voice cast. Uh, but yeah, so it's nice. Like I'm glad we watched it. It's four episodes in and out. They're each 30 minutes, so I guess it's not like, yeah, it's a 2-hour movie. And so the comics we're going to do next issue, it would be in October. The years is passing by, and so we'll be doing Marvel Zombies month here at Shadow and Flame of Magic. As I have 4 issues to spotlight, so that should be fun. Um, and then we also have Ultimate Wolverine 10, X-Men Age of Revelation Overture 1, Ultimate X-Men 20, X-Men Undertow 1, which is reprinting the digital X-Men from the Ashes issues 19 through 25. That magic appears towards the end, so I'm buying that. And hopefully we get Lovable Lockheed, in print one of these days. I know they just canceled Avengers Academy, which was a great, you know, probably the only reason to keep logging into Marvel Unlimited for monthly new comics. But it's just a shame that that series came to an end unexpectedly. It's like, I think 2 issues earlier, they were like, here's a big plot we're setting up, and now they're not doing that. Spider-Boy 1 gets reprinted, which I just bought a copy through eBay before searching for it online. It's going to be complicated. Now I'm 4 Among Them issues away, which is maddening. At first I thought it was 6. I was like, well, 6 is, just two enough to not be driven insane by not owning the last 4, but Found two different people on eBay who are selling the four I want. It's the two Super Soldier issues, Super Soldier and Man of War, Assassins, and Speed Demon. And so, and neither of them make a point of being like, we combine shipping, but one's like $30 and one's $40. So I'm like, well, hopefully the $30 one will hopefully refund me a little money because I'm like $20 for shipping four books seems like a lot, especially if they're not going to be overnighted to me the next night. Like, all right. Deadpool, Wolverine 10, and New Avengers 5. So we'll definitely be doing Ultimate Wolverine 10, Age of Revelation, Overture, and Undertow. And then um the Marvel Zombie comic we have selected for the week. So come back for that. You can follow me on my socials at Jacko SII on TikTok, YouTube. Oh yeah, YouTube, we've hit 600 subscribers and haven't lost any. So thank you everyone for subscribing. Uh, so that's exciting for me. Thank you. I was at the 491 or 591 for the longest time. TikTok, Blue Sky, Twitter. And then you'll follow the podcast at S&FwM. There will definitely be new postings next week. And for the Marvel Zombie tie-in and uh the S&FwM on both Instagram and Blue Sky. Oh, and Twitter, I guess. And so thank you everyone for listening or watching on YouTube, and I will talk to you next time. All right, everyone. Bye.